I mean, I'm hurting these animals. And it hurts my heart.
This is our video about David Nessia, who is a contestant on The Alone Show on season 5.
Episode 5 is the one that we're talking about.
Episode 5, specifically.
Yeah. We just watched this the other day, and something stood out to us, and we just had to talk about it because I think that it'll really resonate with a lot of the vegans who are out there who maybe have stumbled across this video, or maybe it'll resonate with somebody who isn't vegan and just is curious about why vegans care about this kind of thing. So there was something that Dave said on this episode that really hit home for me, and it was basically he's struggling with the idea of having to kill because he's seeing that he's hurting these animals.
I tell myself, is it better to kill one large animal for many meals or a bunch of small ones?
People may have not seen The Alone Show, but just give you an idea of what it is. It's a competition where they put 10 survivors on somewhere in the world where it's kind of hard to survive. They drop them off, give them cameras, say go to it, survive, and see how long you last. And the last person standing is declared the winner. They get $500,000 cash, which is an awesome prize. However, the psychology behind it is there's a lot more to surviving than just building your shelter, killing for food. It's also being alone. So even if you are really good at surviving in the woods and all that kind of stuff, it's really hard to be by yourself.
I don't want to cause suffering to any animal or being. I don't hunt to kill. I hunt to eat.
So in this clip, he says that I hunt to eat. I'm not hunting to kill. And I completely agree with that. I mean, if I was trapped on a desert island, like a lot of non-vegans like to say to us vegans, well, what would you do if you were starving on a desert island? Would you, just go around and eat plants all day? No. No, I wouldn't. I would want to eat something that is going to give me sustenance. We want to make sure that we're surviving, so we're not going to just starve to death instead of killing that cute little bunny that's running around. I mean, you got to eat, right?
It's a matter of calories, right?
Yes.
And there's only so much plant material out there, especially when it comes to wintertime. You're definitely stuck without any options. So you're either going to starve to death, or a rabbit comes across and you're going to have to make that choice, right? Exactly. Whether or not you want to live.
And I really think that for the majority of people in general, has nothing to do with you're a vegan, a vegetarian, anybody who has never really been exposed to hunting, hadn't grown up in that kind of situation, it would be hard for you guys to kill anything. I mean, even a mouse, it's hard, right? You don't want to have to kill an animal. And so it was just really interesting listening to this seasoned hunter. Dave is awesome. He's so great at all of his survival skills. He's for sure one of my most favorite people to watch on this show. And it was just so interesting to see him struggle with this because it reminded me so much of exactly how I felt when I found out about the animal agricultural industry. It was like, what do I do? Do I become a vegetarian? Do I, just ignore it and keep eating meat and just, live my life exactly how I have always been living it? And then that just, you make your choice. And so the choice that we made was to go vegan because we're very privileged in the world that we live in today. We live in Canada, we have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, grains, beans, everything that we could possibly want to be able to eat without having to cause harm and suffering.
One deer. It's less game, less life that I have to take.
So a lot of people do not choose that, and when vegans are told, oh, well, what would you do in that situation? I would not choose to put myself in that situation, right? Unless the zombie apocalypse happened or something where we were forced to live in the forest or in some deserted area. That's a hypothetical situation that will probably never happen in my lifetime. So I'm not worried about that. So having to be put in that ethical dilemma where I may have to kill just to survive, that's not,
it's just not relevant.
It's not relevant.
Hopefully. Hopefully it's not ever relevant, right? For the majority of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
But it was just really interesting to see this show and this seasoned hunter basically say and struggle with the fact that he's hurting these animals. And basically what it comes down to for him is he's struggling with, do I kill a bunch of little animals, multiple tiny guys, and take all of their life, or do I try to hunt one giant animal to reduce my suffering? And that's kind of the ultimate struggle for him, is he's trying to figure out, how can I reduce suffering?
So what do I choose? To be oblivious? Do I choose to be a vegetarian? Do I push the button? Or do I keep killing?
And really, that's what veganism is. We are not perfect. I realize that when the big granary things come and they, cut down all the wheat and stuff, there's probably some animals or whatever that get cut up in the blades. Like, obviously, there's going to be somebody who dies somewhere, and that's what a lot of people say, well, it doesn't matter if you're vegan or not because you're still going to cause suffering. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No system is perfect, right?
No,
and that's why the veganism ideology is around reducing as much suffering and death as practical, as opposed to possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't drive cars down a highway because we would hit bugs and kill them, right? So we have to do what we can within whether that is practical, and that's what it's all about, right?
And like I said before, I realize that we're in a very privileged position to be able to choose our diet. There's plenty of people in the world who really don't have an option, and they are eating bushmeat or whatever else that they can get for that day to feed their family and to feed themselves. And, we're very, very fortunate. If you're sitting here watching this YouTube video, you're probably in the same boat as us. You have internet, so you probably have food that you can choose that's not meat, right?
Killed 5 grouse, a squirrel. Man, that's a lot of pain. That's a lot of pain.
And just, it was interesting because it was almost like watching his eyes open to this idea that he's having a direct impact on these animals. And I think that that's probably why it spoke to me so much when I saw this, is because he could actually have a direct impact on the animals, right? Whereas for us, like, not me and Adam anymore, but when we used to eat meat, it wasn't really a direct link, right? Like, you'd go to the supermarket and you'd walk down the meat aisle and you'd pick up your chicken breasts and your ribs and your burgers or whatever for the weekend, and it was so easy to just not even think about the fact that that was a living thing. It's packaged so nicely and it looks clean and fresh, and it's normal for people to eat meat. Like, why would you ever even question that? But then as soon as you're put in a situation where you actually have to do the killing yourself, you don't want to do it. Why would you want to do it? Nobody wants to kill things. Some people want to kill things, okay.
Well, and some people condition themselves to think that it is a necessity to kill, right? So they put it in the back of their mind, they say, okay, I'm not going to think about this, I'm just going to do it.
I'm hurting these animals. And it hurts my heart.
It's causing this disruption in the flow of life, and you don't want to be the one to do that. And I think that's why a lot of people aren't hunters. I don't know a lot of people who really enjoy hunting. And we live in northern Canada. Like, if there's going to be hunters, they're here, right?
Rural Alberta. Yeah.
Rural Alberta. So, yeah, plenty of cattle ranchers. But again, that's normalized, right? And then the thing with that is it's a means of income, it's a means of survival for them as well. You know, like it'll be really interesting to see if anything changes when he gets home. Like, I wonder if he's going to think about this again when he gets home. You know, when he sits down and has that first steak, is he going to think about this? Is he actually going to make the connection for himself when he gets back, when he's not the one who's actually causing the death, immediate death, right?
And so, Dave, like, maybe you'll see this, maybe you won't, but if you do happen to see this, we suggest 3 films that really hit home for us as well, and it kind of made the connection for us, made us understand exactly what the situation was. Definitely Forks Over Knives, What the Health, and Earthlings. And actually, there's another one too, Cowspiracy. And if you watch all 4 of those movies, it's going to open your eyes, and it'll make it all make complete sense.
Yeah. And the thing with Earthlings too, like, that was the first, I don't know, like, animal slaughter show that I ever watched. And I mean, of course, it was very emotional and very heartbreaking, but there was still a really strong part of myself that didn't want to believe that it was true. And that definitely led me down the rabbit hole, trying to search for truth and search for the answers. So, you know, don't just don't stop learning. Like, if you see something that doesn't quite seem right, or you're like, I don't know if that's true. Like, for me, when I watched Earthlings, I was like, oh, maybe that's just in the States. Maybe Canada's not like that. But unfortunately, I mean, it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know, and I really wanted to believe that the few animal cruelty videos that I saw were just, you know, isolated incidents. I really wanted to believe that. But when you start researching and you really start looking into the industry itself, it's so hard to convince yourself that, you know, everything is rainbows and sunshine over there. You know, even the grass-fed animals, you know, it comes down to the fact of, even if something had a beautiful, wonderful life, like he's out there hunting, right? These animals, they're living their best life, right? They're out in the wild, they're, you know, enjoying whatever little squirrels and deers do, you know? They're not cooped up, they're not being beaten, they're not, you know, subject to different disease, they're not subject to overpopulation, overcrowding, but still he's having issues killing. And that's really what it comes down to. It doesn't matter if your beef is grass-fed, doesn't matter if it came from an organic farm where they, you know, sang it songs before they put it to bed and whatever else. You're still killing it in the end. You know, and that's something that I couldn't live with.
And you always have to look at through the eyes of the victim as well, right? Yeah. So no animal would ever want to voluntarily die and give up its life. And that's often forgotten. Just because they cannot speak doesn't mean that they don't have their own wills and wants.
The hunter left because he couldn't hunt anymore.
I don't know, I hope you guys got some kind of value from this. You know, if you did, please, you know, give us a like, subscribe to our channel. We're going to have a lot more videos on this kind of topic and more. And thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, guys.